whatever you like. I'm trying to be very be professional about it.
Yeah, super, thank you for coming out.
Oh, please. So it's such a pleasure. Such nice people. What a joy.
Yeah. Have you done a lot of that?
Oh yeah, I've been doing it for 30 years. Cons and autograph shows.
Yeah.
I've been doing. I started in 1990. I've been doing it forever.
Oh, awesome.
So I have a lot of stories. I have lots of stories.
Great. I'm excited. Yeah, you'll probably just take over with this sit here.
No, please. Whatever you want to ask me.
Yeah, this one is fun. And I like Colossus because they look like they're not big green.
Got it? Okay, they can hear.
Perfect. Now we're good. All right, well, we're the Hardly Heroes podcast. Eddie, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Wonderful people in Merced. Just lovely, great people. Everybody's been so nice.
Awesome. Yeah, we are a podcast dedicated to movies, TV, and everything geek related.
Okay.
We're lucky enough to get to do the panels and interview you. So you have a laundry list of acting and voice acting. So what I wanted to ask you, which one do you prefer, acting or voice acting?
I like for the ego, acting is better. But you know my problem? My problem is I can't remember lines. So I got into voiceovers because you can be an idiot and do voiceovers. Voiceover, you just read off a piece of paper, you know. I walked down the street and I saw this pretty girl, she was by an oak tree on Main Street, and you just read it.
Yeah.
Whereas I can't remember. Like when I did Polar Express, they got me cue card. Bob Zemeckis got me Bob Hope's cue card holder. And I read all my role in Polar Express, I read off cue cards, the whole thing. I can't remember lines anymore. Some people just read, you know, Jackie Gleason, I heard he would just get a script and he'd memorize it, and I can't do that. Yeah, so voiceovers are easier for me.
I would feel the same way. I'm not a great memorizer.
Yeah, how do people do that?
That's what, and especially like people that can read it like once or twice and they're like done. I'm like,
Yeah.
I gotta read something.
You know who I heard Desi Arnaz was like that. I Love Lucy, you know, Ricky Ricardo. He would just look at his script and he'd read it through one time and he knew it. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow. So in Polar Express, since you brought it up,
Right.
that was a captivating movie, and it's
Oh, thank you.
so holding the test of time, and I love your character in it.
Well, you know, I'm Jewish. I was born Jewish, but it was always on my bucket list. I wanted to do a Christmas movie. I always wanted to do a good Christmas film. And then I got the Polar Express with my favorite director, Bob Zemeckis. So it was just one of those great things that was one of my dreams, and I got to do it. And Tom Hanks, you know, I could talk about him for hours. He's the most wonderful, nicest, just the coolest guy you could imagine. He comes in the first day. Hi, Eddie, I'm Tom. You know, no shit, Sherlock. You know, are you fucking serious? You know, Tom Hanks. He comes bouncing in the room. He's just that kind of guy. So we finished Polar Express. He goes, Eddie, I hear you're a baseball fan. Yeah. He goes, do you want to go to a Dodger game with me? Are you serious? Yeah, you know, so we sit in Tom Hanks' box seat, you know, totally cool guy. We sang the national anthem together, you know, and he's just a totally cool guy.
No way.
Yeah.
A goal of mine that I've always wanted to do is I've always wanted to do a group costume for Halloween.
Right.
But do Tom Hanks, just a bunch of different Tom Hanks.
Forrest Gump and down the line,
Yeah, like Forrest Gump, Bosom Buddies.
Castaway with a beard,
Like I don't know, I just think it'd be fun.
That's a great idea. That would be great cosplay.
Yeah, and I think it'd be fun because, like you said, it's Tom Hanks. He's iconic. So
Exactly,
that's really nice.
You could even do Bosom Buddies in drag, you know, where he wears the chick suit,
Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
So working on Polar Express, like your voice with voice acting is so iconic.
Oh, thank you.
And like being a guy that's into podcasting and always been into like radio and all that type of stuff, like did you know at a young age that you wanted to do like acting and voice acting because of?
I was always like a clown. I was always like the class clown. I loved the Three Stooges, stuff like that. I didn't necessarily think I would get into it professionally. But I was always doing stuff alone in my room, you know, and, you know, doing comedy stuff with the radio. Not that kind of stuff, but, you know, comedy stuff. Alone in the room. I'd watch the Three Stooges, and I love Curly, and I would do that. And then it was 18, and it occurred to me, you're 18, and I couldn't do anything else. I couldn't really do anything in the world. Act goofy, you know. And I wanted to get away from my dad, you know. We weren't getting along that well. So Dad gave me money, and he financed me. And I went to California, and Dad would send me $400 a month. Every month, and in those days it would pay my rent. This is 1970s, so my rent was $100 a month Dad would pay that, and I would pay my bills, and that's how I survived. Yeah. And then I got Grease after 2 years. I lucked out. I did the old Gong Show with Chuck Barris. I don't know if you remember. And I did my stand-up routine, and I got gonged on the Gong Show. That was my debut. Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask. You got your start in stand-up.
Yeah, that was my start. I worked at the Comedy Store in L.A.
Oh,
Yeah, and again, I couldn't even remember lines in those days. I would do my stand-up routine, okay, and my routine was on index cards. They'd clap, and I go, "Hi, I'm Eddie Deezen." They'd clap, I go, "Sure, but will you respect me in the morning?" And that would be my opening line, and I'd read my jokes off the line. And my town was so small, and I'd read it off cue cards.
No way.
Yeah.
Do you ever miss doing stand-up at all?
No, it wasn't for me. I didn't like it. Some guys, it's like anything in life. Some guys like this, some guys love it, but I didn't like the pressure of doing stand-up and, working that way, no.
Well, yeah, and especially, like you were saying, trying to memorize, like, a whole
Yeah,
set.
some can do it. Like, Bob Hope. Bob Hope used cue cards too, but that's a bad example.
No.
But some guys, I guess, like Robin Williams, he doesn't need cue cards. He just do the whole routine.
Well, then I would think it'd be really hard to, like, play off the cuff, like, especially like an up and coming.
Yeah.
Like people heckling and stuff. I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah, they weren't necessarily heckle me. They weren't rude, but
That's good.
I remember I did it the first 2 times and I got good laughs. I went out and they got good laughs. Then the third time I did it in Westwood. They moved me to the Comedy Store in Westwood, and I just tanked. And that's the worst. You tell a joke and you can hear crickets, and it's the worst feeling in the world. Yeah.
So you did work with Weird Al?
Yeah, I was the wall. Yeah, I was the guy inside the wall. Weird Al was the nicest guy. He's a great guy. I couldn't remember lines, so I played the wall. I played a guy inside the wall, and I could read my lines. So that's why he did it. Yeah.
Yeah, because he seems like he'd be super fun and wacky.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Awesome.
Yeah. Usually they're nice people. In the business, the biggest star, John Travolta, Tom Hanks, Steven Spielberg, they're the nicest people you could imagine. There's a few of the big stars I've met, and they've been mean people, but they're very small in the minority.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
Because you never know.
Yeah, you never know. We're all friends, so I can talk here. I met Jerry Lewis. Jerry Lewis was my greatest hero, he was like God to me. And I go to meet Jerry Lewis, he's at a signing show. And I'm rehearsing my lines like, a guy on a date. Mr. Lewis, you're my favorite star. I've seen all your movies. I love you. And I went up and I go, Mr. Lewis, you're my favorite star. I love you so much. I've seen all your movies. Dead silence. He didn't say, he just sits and stares at me. So he signs the thing. Mr. Lewis, I love all your movies. You're my greatest hero. Nothing. He didn't say a word. Then finally, I'm starting to feel woozy. This is my hero. So finally, I said something. And finally, he goes, "Thank you." Like a little kid thanking his grandmother. Thank your grandmother for getting you the sweater for Christmas. And, thank you, Grandma. And he gave me like a perfunctory thank you like that, and I went out. So my manager comes. I'm like dazed. I met Jerry Lewis, and he was the meanest guy. My manager goes, "What happened? Are you all right?" I go, "I just met Santa Claus, and he kicked me in the balls." That was Jerry Lewis. That was Jerry Lewis. It was like I met Santa Claus. He was my hero, and he was so mean. He just put this wall up, and it took me weeks to get over that. I was like devastated. That was my worst experience as far as a star not being friendly that I really loved. Yeah. Yeah.
I can imagine that'd be crushing.
Yeah.
So, real quick before we get into Grace, I just
Sure.
want to ask you, you did some voice acting.
Yeah.
One of my favorite cartoons growing up was Darkwing Duck.
Oh yeah, sure.
That was super
Yeah,
cool.
Darkwing Duck. I remember that. Who was was that Jason Alexander? Was that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had never seen Seinfeld, and by the way, he was the nicest guy. And I met him, and he was in like a little potato chip commercial. And I go, "Mr. Alexander, you were great in that potato chip." He must have thought I was an idiot, because everybody's saying how good he was in Seinfeld. And then I saw Seinfeld later after I was off Darkwing Duck. I didn't see it for a couple of years, and I saw how good he is. But it's like meeting John Lennon, and you say you were good in How I Won the War, or some stupid thing he did, instead of saying the Beatles song. But that's what I did with Jason.
That, I was going to bring that up as well.
Yeah.
You claim to be the biggest Beatles fan.
Oh yeah, I am. I met 3 of them. I met them all except John. I met Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney did me. He did. One guy, Paul McCartney was being interviewed, and they go, "Have you ever seen a movie called I Want to Hold Your Hand?" And Paul McCartney, he goes, "And the answer come back." And that's the bit I did,
Yeah.
and he did my bit. So Paul McCartney did me. He did an impression of me. Anyway, I saw him on the Tonight Show. Paul McCartney was there on the Johnny Carson show, and I saw him interviewed. And then after the show, we all ran out like a Hard Day's Night. There's like a couple hundred Beatles fans. Paul McCartney's car was there, and he's such a nice guy. He rolled the window down, and I touched him. I touched the Beatles, so that was cool. Then he sped off in the car. I felt this crushing thing on my foot like an elephant. It was like I realized his car ran over my foot. He's driving away, and he drove up. Paul my foot. It must have been because this was like the most heavyweight, but it didn't break my foot. But it was like this heavy weight driving over my foot, and that was Paul McCartney. Yeah. I should sue him, but he's Paul McCartney. He's such a nice guy.
Yeah, because you're probably starstruck at the moment. You're like Paul McCartney.
And I was close, you were close. And he had, everybody was converged, so he had to get out of there. And we didn't move back. And I was just close by the car, so I think he just drove over the edge of my foot. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And you had a contest going, correct?
Nobody ever got it. They were really hard Beatles questions, and nobody ever got it. These questions would stump the Beatles. They wouldn't know them.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, can you give me an example?
I go let me think of one.
I was trying to think of
Okay, Hard Day's Night, the movie A Hard Day's Night? Mm-hmm. What scene was a Beatle not in? There was a scene with the Beatles where there was 3 Beatles and a fake Beatle. What scene was it? It was Christ. Does anybody know that? Any Beatles fans? There was a fake Beatle in A Hard Day's Night, but that's one of the questions.
No way.
Tough trivia.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And I like that nobody ever could stump you.
Nobody ever got it, yeah. I think the most anybody ever got is like 3 right out of the 15.
That's so cool.
Because I've read like 700 books on the Beatles. I know all this trivia and it sticks in my mind. So it's just.
I love that stuff can stick in your mind, but memorizing lines.
Yeah.
Like, nah.
The mind is capricious, okay? Yeah. I'll give you an example. I'll get a script and I can't remember my line. I can't remember 2 lines in a script. But I can tell you Babe Ruth, his statistics right down the line. I go, Babe Ruth played in 2,502 games for the New York Yankees from 1914 to 1935. Babe Ruth got 2,873 hits. His lifetime batting average was 342. He had 506 doubles. He had 136 triples, 714 home runs, 1,356 extra base hits. I can go down like that with baseball. I can remember those stats, but for a script, I can't remember it. The mind is a funny thing. Yeah, but I can remember baseball numbers for some reason. Yeah.
Huh. Who is your favorite baseball team?
The Pirates. I'm a Pirates fan. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. They're terrible, but they're my team.
Hey,
yeah.
That's as long as you stick with them through thick and thin.
Yeah.
Man, that's super cool. So working on Grease, how was that?
Wonderful. Olivia Newton John was the nicest lady. John Travolta. My first scene in Grease, I'm walking down the stairs, and the T-Birds pick on me. They mess up my hair, and I'm like the nerd they pick on. So after every take, John Travolta would go, "Are you okay?" He'd go, "Are you okay?" He called me Buddy. He'd always call me Buddy, and we'd do a scene, and they'd mess up my hair, and then they go, "Cut," and John would come over, he'd go, "Are you okay, Buddy?" I go, "Yes, sir." Then they do another take, they pick on me, cut. John would go, "Are you okay, Buddy?" He was a caring guy.
Really nice.
Anyway, I come on the set one day, I'm this little goofball, it was my first film. I have a chocolate ice cream cone, I'm licking this chocolate ice cream cone on the set. John Travolta is there. He was like the biggest star in the world. He was like Elvis.
Yeah.
He has all these women and cheerleaders and reporters around, and he spotted me. And I'm all alone, John Travolta has like 50 people there. He jogs over to me, he comes over and he shakes my hand. "How are you, buddy?" That's the kind of guy he is. He goes, "How are you, buddy? Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine." And then he goes back. He was a very kind man. I can't emphasize what a kind person he is.
Wow.
Yeah.
That must have been, well, and you knew the movie was going to be big.
No, not like now. It's like The Wizard of Oz. It's like this film never died. Every actor, when you do your first film, you think it's going to be a hit because you don't know what a bomb is. So I did Grease and I got spoiled. You think they're all going to be these films, and then I did all these B movies. I did like 20 or 30 B movies that nobody cares about. Grease, it just happened to be my first film, and it's like Gone with the Wind or Star Wars, or with The Wizard of Oz. It's just one of these classics.
Yeah, because you think okay, it's got John Travolta, it'll be big, but not,
Yeah, you don't know. You just kind of think that your first film, I'm in the movies, it's a head trip, and you think this is going to be a great movie. Everybody thinks that. But most people's first films bomb, most movies bomb anyway. Most movies just bomb and they just go on. Yeah.
So how was when you had to go in and read for that movie, how was that?
I went in, I read for Randall Kleiser, our director, and then there was Joel Thurm was a casting director, and Alan Carr was a producer, and they were there, and I had like 3 lines, So I read my lines, and I noticed they were nudging each other. While I was reading, they were like nudging each other. So I knew I was doing okay. I'll tell you, this is a true story. This is a religious story. If you believe in religion, you'll believe this story is true. If you're an atheist, you'll say it's a coincidence, but this is a true story. I went in and read for Grease, and they were nudging each other, and then they called up, they go, "Eddie, they're cast you in Grease, you're gonna be in the movie." So of course I called my parents, I called my brother, I was real happy, I told everybody. A couple days later, they said, "Eugene is not an important role, we cut it out of the movie." So it's like, it's like take a gun to my head. I was like devastated, but they weren't going to use grease in the movie. So I talked to my agent. She said, we're going to go to church and pray. I go, what? She goes, we're going to go to church, we're going to pray. I'm Jewish. I've never been to church in my life. We go to church. It's still a church there. It's on Vermont Avenue in Hollywood. She goes, light a candle and pray. Are you serious? Yeah. So we both lit a candle and we prayed. I prayed, please let me in grease. I swear to God, this is true. About a day or two later, they said, we put the role of Eugene back in the movie. Now, if you're religious, you go, that's a religious story. God intervened. But if you're a non-believer, you just go, that's a total coincidence. You lucked out. So you can take the story however you want, but that's a true story. That's my big religious story. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that, like the roller coaster of like, I finally got my first movie, I'm super excited. You call your family, which, you know, and they're like, pretty much go out and follow.
And then they pulled the rug out from under me, and then I got it back. It was just a weird story, but it's true. I'll tell you how grease saved my life one day.
I like that.
I'm sitting at a bus stop on Hollywood Boulevard, okay? And I'm reading my little book, and I didn't want to be bothered. So this guy sits down beside me. He goes, do you know what time it is? I go, yeah, it's 6:30. I was kind of rude. I go, it's 6:30, da-da-da-da-da. So the guy goes, I look over, he goes, don't you disrespect me, man. I look over, this is a gangbanger. I'm sitting beside this gangbanger. I look, there's 3 other gangbangers, and there's 3 guys, and they're like black leather out of West Side Story. These 3 I go, these guys are gonna kill me. They'll kill me, or they'll at least beat the shit out of me. I was rude to this gang, so I'm sitting there thinking, what have I done? So the guy goes over, and these guys are huddling up. They're like these 4 gangbangers, they huddle up together. Go, what the fuck? I go, maybe they'll just rob me. Maybe I had like $100. I go, maybe they'll rob me, or maybe they'll just beat the shit out of me. But I hope they don't kill me. Please don't let them kill me. Anyway, the gangbanger comes over to me. He goes, hey, are you the guy in Grease, man? I go, yeah, that's me. I'm the guy in Grease. Goes, let me ask you something, man. They were Hispanic guys, It just happened they were a Hispanic gang. They could have been any kind of gang. But he goes, let me ask you something. He goes, is Olivia Newton John that hot in real life? I go, yeah, she's real hot. Anyway, I talk to these gangsters, for like 5 or 10 minutes. Finally, the bus comes and saves me, So I shake hands with them all. I go, nice to meet you, and I hopped on the bus and got away. I think if I wasn't in Greece, they would have killed me. I think these guys would literally have either killed me or just not only could I not beat up one of these guys, I couldn't have beat up their girlfriends. Any of their girlfriends could have beat me up, I weighed like 120 pounds, but I think being in Greece saved my life. Yeah.
That's a
true story. That's a true story. Yeah.
With some of the other animated, you've done like SpongeBob. You've done like so many. Is there a favorite?
Polar Express. Polar Express is my favorite animated. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like a movie. What about like a one-off type of like?
Probably Dexter's Laboratory.
Ooh,
that was fun. That was a fun gig. I loved our director. I loved the cast. Yeah, they were wonderful.
Nice.
Yeah.
Also with what was I? Oh, so you're a pop culture trivia buff.
Yeah.
So is it any trivia you pretty much can remember?
So I know Gilligan's Island, the Beatles, the Three Stooges, Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton. I know all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. So like stuff. Batman.
Oh, like the animated or like?
No, the old series in the 60s. Yeah.
Okay, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Because I was a huge Batman fan growing up, but I was more of the '90s cartoons.
Oh.
My era that I grew up with. But being in Hollywood for as long as you have, did you ever want to do something different than the roles you were getting?
Not necessarily. No. I don't mind playing this.
Yeah,
So, let's be honest, I'm not that talented, I can play this one character and I play him real good, but I can't, like Tom Hanks can play anything.
Yeah.
Robert De Niro, these great Jack Nicholson, they can do anything, but I pretty much played the one character.
I think it's fun that you're cool with that, because some people are like, oh, I got typecasted.
Yeah.
And you were like, no, actually.
No, I've been so lucky, so blessed, so I don't mind. Yeah, I work with such wonderful people. Yeah.
Yeah, and the, your voice is so iconic. I still
thank
can't
you.
get past that.
Thank you.
Yeah. I did. So we talked about this. I wanted to know if we have our own questions with the Hardly Heroes that I wanted to know if I could ask.
Sure.
So.
Keep it clean, keep it clean.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
So what is your favorite superhero?
I'm gonna go with, I guess Superman. You know, I like Superman, but I always liked Clark Kent better than Superman. I thought Clark Kent was my hero when I was a kid. I thought he was cooler than Superman. He called her Lois, you know, and Superman goes, Miss Lane. But Clark Kent would call her Lois, you know, and I thought his I like that double-breasted suit and the hat he wore. So he was my favorite Clark Kent.
I think I've never.
Yeah, I love Clark Kent. And I love George Reeves. He's one of my heroes. The original Superman. He was so wonderful.
Did you ever get to meet him?
Oh, no, he died in '59. He died I was just a
sorry,
kid.
I'm thinking of
Adam West?
Yeah.
I did shows with Adam West.
Nice.
Super nice guy.
Oh, that's
I did a
cool.
lot of signing shows with him, and he was a very nice guy.
Oh, awesome.
He was funny.
Oh,
You
yeah.
don't expect it, but he had a very funny, sarcastic wit. Yeah.
Favorite villain?
Villain? Batman?
no, any.
I guess the Riddler. I like the Riddler.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so
It's always fun to like hear people's favorite villain of all time.
Yeah.
Riddler.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then we have another one of being, what would be your superpower?
Any superpower? Invisible, you can check out the women. So I guess to look at the women, I'd be invisible. They don't slap you don't get a sexual harassment lawsuit, you know. Those suits that they sue me for, they're still pending, you know, by the way.
I know what reminds me of that new show that just came out, The Boys. Have you seen that?
No.
There's a guy that's invisible all the time.
Oh, that would
And
be
he
a cool
hangs
power.
out in the bathroom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to, I meant to keep it clean. And then the last one, this one's
Sure.
probably the weirdest one. If you were in a zombie apocalypse, what would be your weapon of choice?
A zombie apocalypse. I guess one of those machine guns that you can knock off a bunch at once.
Okay,
yeah.
nice.
Not that I could do it. You say here you go, I have a gun. I don't think I could kill another human being. I just don't think I could do it. I would try to reason with them. I just could not kill a human life. Maybe Hitler or somebody like that, but it'd be hard to kill
I
somebody.
think I'd just dress as another zombie and just
Yeah,
walk
that's
up
not a
on
bad
them.
idea. Yeah,
I think it'd
yeah.
be really funny.
It's not a bad. Well, you know what's funny, and I don't mean to be disrespectful. A lot of the homeless guys in Hollywood, you see, we have so many in Hollywood. They're like zombies. And I go, this is what a zombie's like. These guys walk, they probably go high on drugs, and they just walk around, give me some money. It's kind of like close to a zombie. And I don't want to hurt these guys. They're suffering, but.
Well, yeah, in Los Angeles.
LA, we're becoming a tent city. They're building all these tents
Well, yeah,
now.
and they're everywhere.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, so those are just some fun questions that we
Okay.
always like to ask. I wanted to know if anybody had any.
Anybody have any questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah. Did you ever audition where you offered a part for Revenge of the Nerds?
No, that's a great question. I auditioned for Animal House, I didn't get it. I auditioned for Airplane, I didn't get it. Both of those I didn't get. So those are my regrets. I auditioned for Roger Rabbit, I didn't get that. Revenge of the Nerds, they didn't have me. And then I met the producer years ago. I go, why did you not have me? I'm the biggest nerd. Why didn't you have me in Revenge of the Nerds? He said the gag in Revenge of the Nerds was we wanted to get regular people and dress them up like nerds. He said, you're already like that. He goes, we didn't want to do it with you. That's what he told me. It might be a made-up story, but that's what he said. Yeah.
So you did Spy Hard, right?
I did Spy Hard. I get spit in the face. Yeah.
Okay. What was that like?
I did a scene with Andy Griffith. I was in a scene, and this is, Andy Griffith, one of my heroes. And I go over to Andy Griffith's on the toilet, and he gets off, and I run up and flush his toilet. I go over and I flush it, and his toilet. But they cut it out of the movie. Anyway, Andy Griffith was right there, and I wanted to meet him, and he was like not nice. He goes, "Give me my boot! Give me my boot, Billy!" That he was yelling at his aide, and I was scared to go near him. But I worked with Andy Griffith, and he was my hero. But he wasn't that nice that day, so I didn't approach him. So I end up with the one scene where I get spit in the face.
What about Leslie Nielsen? Was that?
I never got to meet him.
Okay.
I would love to have met him. Yeah. Yes, sir.
What was it like working with Morgan Fairchild and William Nicky and Pop-Off?
I love Morgan Fairchild. We got to make out. I got to make out with my two big makeouts are I made out with Morgan Fairchild and Tanya Harding. Those are my two big stories. But Morgan Fairchild, we did a scene in the movie. The beautiful girl kisses the nerdy guy, and she moves, and my glasses are fogged up. So I got to do it. So I'm sitting with Morgan Fairchild in bed with Morgan Fairchild. She goes, "Eddie, do you want to rehearse?" I'm going, oh my God, you're kidding. Get to rehearse making out with Morgan Fairchild. So we got to make out. She's a great kisser. We got to make out, and it was just a fun scene. Morgan was delightful to work with. She's a total pro, and she's a very funny actress. I love Morgan. I love working with her. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Tanya Harding was great. I did a signing show with Tanya Harding, a show called Chiller, and she was there. This is like 2005, and she had no customers. No, because she was like a villain at that time. She's the one that hit Nancy Kerrigan with the thing and broke her knee. No, and I think she was just lonely. So we just started talking on the set, and she's a lonely girl, and we started making out. She just moved in, and we started making out together, and I made out with Tanya Harding. It was the coolest makeout of my life. And then we exchanged pictures. She gave me a picture, and I didn't give her. And then one of her henchmen comes over to her. Hey, where's Tanya's picture? Yes, sir. And I wrote her a picture and gave it to her, and that was the last I saw of her. But I think she was just lonesome. It wasn't that I'm a big sexual attractive guy, but she was just lonesome, I think. Yeah.
You could have lied to us. You would have told me, it was because of how you looked. I would have believed you.
Yeah, of course. Chick magnet. That's
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talk a little about Surf 2 and your role in Menlo Schwartz.
Surf 2 is one of my first top billing films. I think I've done 3 films where I had top billing. Surf 2 is one. Surf 2 was fun. There were a lot of girls in bikinis, so that made it fun. And it was a fun movie. I think we did it at Santa Monica Beach. I'm not sure. It was just, it was kind of a crazy movie. Oh yeah, Ron Palillo, Horshack was there, and we became very good friends. He was a wonderful guy, and I miss him to this day. So meeting him was a joy in that. Not a lot to tell on that. I'm trying to think of something else. It was just a crazy little movie. It was kind of funny. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Any more questions? Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Reese, in the carnival scene, was that you throwing the ball or the pie at the toe?
People ask me that, and I'm going to be honest with you. I went so much even on stage, I don't remember. I remember it was like they always ask me what kind of pie was that. It was like a bunch of whipped cream they put in, or shaving cream. I think it was shaving cream. And that's what I got hit with. It could have been me throwing, or it could have been a stand-in that threw at Sid Caesar. I don't know. But I would guess it was me, but I'm not positive. That was my big scene in Greece, yeah. I remember I do the scene, and he hit me with the pie, and then they go cut, and then the girls come and clean my glasses off. I remember we did about 4 or 5 takes of it. That was my big scene. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Any story about Midnight Madness?
Michael J. Fox, I knew. Michael J. Fox, that was his first film. And Michael and I would have lunch together. We'd talk about the Twilight Zone. He loved the Twilight Zone. And we played Super Ball together against the wall. I had a Super Ball, and there was a brick wall at Disney, and we played handball against the wall at Disney Studios. It was nice. Anyway, we did Midnight Madness. About 5 years later, I'm at Universal Studios, and then Back to the Future had come out. When I knew him, he was like this unknown kid. So this red Ferrari comes spinning up, and it's Michael J. Fox in a red Ferrari. He's the biggest star in the world, and he's the same sweet guy. He hadn't changed, but he was he goes, "Hi, Eddie, how are you? You working?" And we talked and kibbutz, and that was the last time I saw him. But he went from being a total unknown to the biggest star, and he didn't change a bit. He was just a very, very nice guy. Yeah.
Twilight Zone. Never would have guessed that.
Yeah, he loved the Twilight Zone. We used to talk about our favorite episodes.
That's good.
Yeah.
What is your favorite episode?
I liked the one where the guy goes back to his hometown, and he didn't know he wanted to ride the merry-go-round again, the carousel. I love that one. I love the one with Jonathan Winters where he's the pool player.
Oh, yeah.
I love that episode. Yeah, those are probably my 2 favorites.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, especially like you said, he became like one of the biggest stars.
Yeah, he was huge. In the mid-'80s, he was the biggest star. Back to the Future. Yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't change him. That's what.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
If not, I got some more questions I can ask.
Oh, yes, this pretty lady. It's my friend Katrina.
What was the biggest surprise for you working on Grease?
On Grease, the biggest surprise, let me see. That's a great one. I'll be honest, Katrina. It was probably that I was on the cutting room floor. When you do your first film, you don't know what editing is. So I had a pretty big role in Grease. I did a lot of scenes, and then when I went to the premiere, they cut me almost off. All I have is the pie in the face, and I walked down the stairs. So I was kind of a little hurt with that. I didn't know what the editing was, but I was on the cutting room floor. That was probably my biggest surprise when I went to the premiere at the Chinese theater. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah. What do you think of the Grease fan theory that Sandy is actually dead the whole time and the whole movie is her coma?
We did a Grease reunion about 2 or 3 years ago together, and the director said it's just baloney. He said, I talked to the writers, and they heard the theory, and they said it's totally 100% made up whole cloth, so don't believe it.
Well,
Yeah.
John thinks people just have good imaginations.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah. It's kind of like the Beatles, you get something that big, and people just make up stuff. They start thinking up weird stuff, Paul is dead and all this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, being a video game voice acting. Correct?
Oh, okay.
Right?
I guess so, yeah.
All right, I looked
They
at-
pay me, I'll do anything. They
Yeah,
pay
you're
me.
like, I don't care.
Yeah, yeah.
And you did Cow and Chicken?
Yeah, Cow and Chicken, right. Cartoon show, yeah.
Yeah. You've done a lot. Like, I'm just really surprised with all the voice acting. But also, you've been doing it since the 70s. So.
Yeah. I did 70. Grease was my first. Yeah.
So more into Grease. Now, did your family come out to the Chinese theater when
No.
it came out?
No, they just stayed in Maryland, and I saw the premiere, and then it looked like a good film, but you couldn't have known the Grease was going to be this big after all this. It just never died. Movies, they'll play and then they die out, but Grease never died. It keeps going on and on. Eddie Grease is on. I'll get on Facebook. Eddie Grease is on Bravo Channel. Eddie Grease is on this. Eddie Grease 2 is on this, and it just keeps rolling on.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Something about the film, you have to talk to people. It hit some kind of a button, especially with women. Women and girls, I get all the time. I met 3 women, they said, I watched Grease so many times, I broke the tape, they said. 3 times, 3 different women, they said, I broke the tape so many times. I watched so many. I've met 20,000 people who said it's my favorite movie of all time. All the time you hear that. More with women than men.
Yeah.
But guys like it too, but more of a chick thing. Yeah.
What is your favorite movie of all time?
Hard Day's Night with the Beatles.
Oh,
Beatles'
nice.
first movie, yeah.
Are you okay with, I'm sorry, getting off topic, with like the Beatles, like Across the Universe, how they like redid, I don't know if you've seen that, but it's a movie all about Beatles songs.
Right.
But then they've kind of made a story out of the Beatles songs.
Yeah,
but they
it's
don't
okay.
sing them.
Yeah, I'm not that crazy about that, no. I like the Beatles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
I saw Yesterday. I loved Yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Great movie, yeah.
awesome. Yeah,
Man, it's hot, isn't it?
I know. I felt like it was cooler in here, but now it's getting a little bit.
A little
warmer.
bit, yeah.
Nice. So growing up, or not growing up, but starting in Hollywood from then to now with movies and how much they've changed, like with sets and everything like that, do
Right.
you feel, do you like it better how it used to be than now?
It's interesting because I complain about all the special effects now, but I realized Polar Express started a lot of that. Polar Express was the first CGI, I think it was the first computer-generated film. It was motion capture.
Yeah.
We'd go into the set every day. We put on rubber suits, diving suits. They glued dots to our head. They put 152 marks on our head every day. This is Tom Hanks, me, Peter Scolari, and Nona. They put 150 marks, and then they glue 152 dots to our face. Every day we did this. Then they glue a bathing cap to our head. Anyway, it was a motion capture film, and they'd do our scene. We'd go like, Santa Claus, I want all the presents. Hey, Santa, I want those presents. And then they'd go cut. And then they had 4 little kids. They had a little kid, Tom Hanks, me, Peter, and Nona, and they do the same scene. Somehow they morphed us together. That was the special effects, however they did it. But you see kids on the film, but we acted out all those scenes, and the kids just did our movements.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy shoot. But anyway, you say that I hate that there are so many. Every other film now is special effects. But Polar Express started that 3D thing where every other film's 3D now. But I think Polar Express really started that.
Polar Express is just so captivating. You know,
Yeah.
it like brings you back to being a little kid.
Yeah.
And, like,
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, I was upset. The first time I saw Polar Express, I went to the premiere. And I almost cried. I thought it was so bad because we look so weird, Everybody looks. I go, oh my God! So halfway through the premiere, I ran out crying. I literally ran out of the theater crying. I went on the bus. This is a true story. I'm on the bus, and I was crying. And this black guy, this African American gentleman, he was a totally nice guy. He goes, "What's the matter, son?" He just started talking. He's like this old man. He goes, "What's the matter, son?" I go, "I did this movie with Tom Hanks. It's called The Polar Express, and it's terrible. And I worked on it. It's the worst." And he goes, "Oh no, I heard it was a good film, son. Don't worry." That's what he said. This nice guy, and I never saw him again. And that kind of cheered me up a little bit. Just a kind man. And then I went to another screening in Polar Express with my girlfriend. We went to go see it, and I go, "You know what? This isn't that bad of a film. It's pretty good." And then it grew on me. But when I first saw it, I hated it. And that guy, I never saw him again, but he helped cheer me up. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
So you didn't think when you first saw it for the first time, you didn't think it was going to be.
No, I thought it was the worst thing I ever saw. When I saw it, it looked so bad because we just look so weird. I've never seen anybody look so weird.
Because of how the new animation.
Thing is, I look weird anyway, but in Polar Express more than usual. Yeah. I'm getting a lozenge from my throat.
Oh no, you're fine. Oh man, I'm really surprised to hear that. Because I'm
I'll tell you a last great Polar Express story. Do you guys remember Captain Kangaroo? Captain Kangaroo was a kiddie show. Anyway, I was shooting Polar Express as one of our last days. Captain Kangaroo had died that day. So anyway, I was in makeup, I'm getting made up, and I'm real depressed, I'm bummed out. Captain Kangaroo died. Tom Hanks comes in the room. He loved Captain Kangaroo, and we both talked about how we both loved Captain Kangaroo. So anyway, I'm bummed out, I go out of the makeup room. I walk out of the room and I'm standing there alone outside the makeup trailer. Tom Hanks comes bouncing out of the makeup room. He comes down the stairs. He sings me. He serenaded me. He sang me the Tom Terrific song. There's a little character on Captain Kangaroo called Tom Terrific, and he sang the song. He goes, I'm Tom Terrific, and this is my dog. Tom Hanks sang me the whole song. I'm looking up into the sun, and this guy is singing me the whole song. And then I was like spellbound. Tom Hanks is serenading me. And then he ended, I didn't know what to say, so I just go, you know what, you're a great guy. And then he just walked off. He had a big smile and he walked off. But that's a true story. But Tom Hanks serenaded me. He's such a kind man to do that. And I never forgot that moment.
Yeah. Every star, besides the one I feel like you've met, has been really nice.
They were super nice, yeah. Very nice.
So when in Hollywood, what was probably your favorite, or like your biggest moment besides Grease? Would be, well, no, you'd probably say it'd be Polar Express, huh?
You mean, the biggest, yeah, Polar Express and Grease would be my two biggest, yeah. So most people have seen them.
Yeah.
Because you do so many B movies that other people don't see. You do shows like this and then they'll, Eddie, I love Midnight Madness or whatever, but most people haven't seen it.
Yeah. Is there a B movie that is your favorite of all the ones you've done?
I did one called I Want to Hold Your Hand, where the Beatles. It wasn't necessarily a B movie, but it didn't do that good. But that was the first film Zemeckis directed. It was the first film Steven Spielberg ever produced.
Wow.
And that was a good film, and it's about the Beatles. And I know 3 of the Beatles at least saw it, so I'm proud of that one.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, being a Beatles fan, the 3 of them, yeah.
Yeah.
That's super cool. And I can't believe you got to meet 3 of them.
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
Yes, sir. 1941, I threw up in Steven Spielberg's toilet. That was my honor. I spent the whole movie on a Ferris wheel, and Steven was whipping us around real fast. Murray Hamilton and I spent the whole film, if you've seen it, we're on a Ferris wheel. And I started feeling nauseous, and Steven stopped the Ferris wheel. I go, I feel sick. He goes, go lay in my dressing room. So Steven's secretary walks me over, into the dressing room, and I lay on Steven Spielberg's cot. Then I go, oh boy, I'm gonna throw up. So I crawled. I couldn't even walk. I crawled into his bathroom, and I threw up in the toilet. And then the significance of it, I go, I just threw up in Steven Spielberg's toilet. And I realized this is a highlight of my life. So kind of cheer me up. That's my most memorable moment in 1941. John Belushi was the greatest guy, total nice guy. John and I were friends through the years, and the last time I saw him, I had a bad audition. And I happened to run in, and then John Belushi's there, And he goes, hi, Eddie, how you doing? I go, hi. He goes, what's the matter? I go, I just had a terrible audition. I said, I went in an audition, and they didn't like me. And he goes, they're assholes. That was the last, and then he walked off. That was the last time I saw John Belushi. Yeah, he was a great guy. Yeah.
John Belushi.
Yeah.
Seems like a really funny.
He was the nicest man you could imagine. He was at the premiere of I Want to Hold Your Hand, and we sat and talked for like 15 or 20 minutes. He was a great guy. Just, and you run into people around. I run into him around town and say hi, and he was always a great guy.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite story in Hollywood? Like, you have so many stories, I don't even know where to start. Because you have so many, funny, just off-the-wall stories. You threw up in Steven Spielberg's
Toilet, yes.
You've had Tom Hanks serenade you.
Yeah.
You've had John Travolta pretty much ask if you're okay every
Right.
take. Do you have any other random stories that...
I'll just throw you one off the top of my head. I was at a market on Sunset in Fairfax, walking one day. This happened about 20 years ago. But I'm walking at the market, and this guy has a baseball cap backwards, and he's walking real slow. And you ever had that at the market? He's shopping around. You want to get past him. This fucking old man, what are you? Da-da-da. So I looked closely. It was Adam Sandler. I go, what the fuck? So I went up. I go, excuse me, sir, are you Adam Sandler? He goes, yeah. Totally nice guy.
Yeah.
He goes, I swear to God, this is true. He goes, you're an actor too, aren't you? I go, yeah. He goes, I've been loving you for a long time. That's what he said. He said, yeah, he's such a nice guy, a star like that. He said, nice guy. Okay, I'll give you another one. I went to a signing show with Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone was signing his book. And I went up, this is fucking Rocky, Rambo.
Yes.
So he signs the book, and then he looks at me. I got his eye, and he goes, and my manager goes, he's the guy in Grease. And Stallone goes, yeah, that's it. Sylvester fucking Stallone, you know, he's so nice. And he goes like that. What a nice guy. You know, usually the superstars are nice guys. He's just a nice guy.
I would have lost my mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Rocky 3 is still my favorite.
You like Mr. T one?
Oh,
I'm a First Blood nut. I
Oh.
love Rambo. First Blood is one of the best movies ever made, but I love that.
Well, and especially like, how long ago was that when you met him?
I would say this about 2000,
Oh, okay, yeah.
20 years ago. Yeah.
He's one of the biggest, like, I don't
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
stars.
he's
at least for me.
an immortal icon, yeah.
Yeah, like I didn't even know that Rocky 5 existed for a long time because my brother wouldn't let me watch it.
Is that the Russian guy? He boxes the Russian guy, or which
No,
one?
that one's 4. 5 is the one where he fights Tommy Gunn in the street.
Oh, okay,
Sorry, I'm
okay.
getting off a little off
Yeah,
topic.
that's
I just
okay.
missed that. No, that's super cool. Do you have any other, I'm sorry, your stories are so random that I'm kind of like, really.
I'm just throwing off the top of my, because in all the years you run into these people and they're always so nice and so wonderful.
What is-
I met George Harrison. I was playing Santa Claus once. I was at the Beverly Center, and one of my dreams was always to play Santa Claus, even though I'm Jewish. But we were sitting there smoking cigars. In those days, you could smoke a cigar. And this guy comes up to us. He goes, our Santa Claus didn't show up tonight. Did any of you guys want to play Santa Claus? And I jumped to my skin. Me, I want to play Santa. So I did it. So I dressed up as Santa Claus. Anyway, I'm on my break, and I take off my top. I was Santa Claus pants and boots, and I had my T-shirt on, my skinny T-shirt, and I'm just standing there. And who comes out of the bookstore? George Harrison. He had a bodyguard on each side. He's walking there. So I didn't say anything. I just followed him down the aisle. I'm like walking down the aisle. George Harrison's walking down the corridor, and I'm following him. I should have said something, but you know, he seemed like he wanted to be alone. He wanted to be in private, so I didn't say anything. And then he just walked out the door. I should have said something, but I just followed him and go. There was fucking George Harrison, and nobody was bothering him. He's a Beatle. He's walking there, and nobody said a word. He just walked down the corridor. It was surreal. Yeah.
Nice. Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
For old time's sake, can you give us the classic Mandark laugh?
Okay, I got a lozenge in my mouth, but I'll do it. This is my lab, Dexter. The beautiful Dee Dee. Oh, I love Dee Dee. Hey, this is my lab. Get out of there, Dexter. That's it. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah.
When you auditioned for Mandark, how many other actors were you up against for that role?
You know, that's a great story. I don't even remember. I went in for Mandark. It was supposed to be a one-time thing, and then they liked it, and they kept writing new episodes. But I love that group, and I can't give you an honest answer. I don't remember, sir. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Well, that's all the time we got.
I want to thank you all for coming, and I want to thank all you people for being so wonderful.